what is it that I want to listen to? What is it that I'm struggling with? And what is it that's the most important thing to me in my life? And I know that we're all human, Jason, and we all share the same problems, the same challenges. And I talk about them in a way that gives you hope to be able to say, got it, I understand how to do this better.
Just people, passion, power. All right, welcome back to People, Passion, Power. Our guest today is somebody I've been trying to track down for at least 6 months, and I'm so excited. I'm excited to have him on the show. Tristan Ahumada. What's Ahumada with you, Tristan?
What's up, buddy?
What's happening? Taking me forever to track you down, but I'm excited to have you, and I have so many questions for you. You wear so many hats, Tristan. You're one of the founders of Lab Coat Agents. You run a real estate team. You are a national speaker. You are a husband. What am I missing? What else do you do? What else can you do?
Dad, writer. Dude, I enjoy reading a ton. Thought leader, consultant for Fortune 500 companies like Facebook, right?
Yeah.
Fidelity National, like that. Yeah, dude, just a whole bunch of stuff. I don't even know what the heck I'm doing.
Yeah, your days, I imagine your days are actually pretty structured and pretty organized. As chaotic as that sounded right there, I imagine your days are down to the minute, aren't they?
Dude, they are. I'm looking at my day right now, and I know what I'm doing for the rest of the whole day and the rest of the whole week up until Sunday.
And you take Sundays off? Is that your downtime?
Saturdays is where I take off the middle portion and the afternoon, but it's mostly with my family. So I have playtime. So my kids and I, we play Minecraft or Mario Kart 8, or we go outside and play. And then right in the middle of the day, we take time to read together, and then we go back to play board games and stuff like that. So it's like a family day for the bulk of it.
Yeah, you've even got that scheduled. I can tell by the way you're talking about it. Your family day and what that looks like is completely scheduled, the activities.
It is. It sounds like it's, well, what the hell? What is this? But believe it or not, if I don't do that, my day gets away from me. That I'm thinking about, because I'm so passionate about what I do, right? So if I don't stop and actually pay attention to my family and those other things that I love, my day can just go by the whole day and I'm just working and working because I love this stuff.
Yep.
So, and it's the same thing with the kids. I could play Mario Kart 8 for a very long time. So
I remember Mario Kart a long time ago. I haven't played the newer versions yet, but maybe I should get into that. Actually, I don't have the time to get into Mario Kart.
It's fun. It's fun.
But we'll do that. So for the agents watching, many of you guys know Tristan. Many of you guys know about Lab Coat Agents. If you don't, check them out on Facebook. It is the largest realtor Facebook group out there, correct?
Yeah, man. It's actually the largest online community, period, in the world, which is crazy.
That's nuts. And you started it in 2014.
I started October 2014 after I was speaking around the nation for Realtor.com. I kept on getting the same question about online lead conversion. What tech do you use? What process systems? And I thought, well, let's create a blog. And my wife said, no, do a Facebook group.
Yep.
So I was not into Facebook, but I decided to do it anyway. And then it just took off. And then I brought in Nick Baldwin a few months later. And then we started just working really well together. And we blew up from there.
Speaking of questions, I want to make sure I don't ask you the same questions everybody else asks you, because I know you're doing a ton of these. And my goal is to make it interesting for you and for the viewer. So I need to be cautious not to ask the softball questions. But at the same time, I want people to know you and know you how you kind of worked your way up and through. And
I like that.
And you're onto my radar screen. I want everybody watching. Tristan, I go to YouTube, you're there. I go to Facebook, you're there. You're in my inbox. And according to you, or at least according to my brain, you're working 24/7.
Isn't that crazy?
That's nuts. So how have you hijacked my brain? And before I go there, that's my first question. How are you so good at hijacking my brain? And but before I do that, what's the membership like of the Facebook group? Where are you guys right now?
Yeah, we're at 125,000 members. Out of those 125,000, 105,000 engage every 28 days inside of the community.
Wow.
And out of those 105,000 that engage, we have just a little bit over 500,000 comments, posts, and likes every 28 days.
That's insane. And that puts you in the top 1% of Facebook as in terms of engagement.
Facebook groups in the world, yeah, we're definitely one of the highest in the top 1%, correct.
Outstanding.
Crazy.
Congratulations. Did you ever think it would be that?
I didn't know what it would be, but I did shoot for 100,000 the day I created it. So
you set big goals right out of the gate.
yeah, I did, man. I definitely did.
All right, so break this down for me. How have you hijacked my brain? Partially because I let you, but partially because you came. I saw you were at a conference here in Northern Virginia that I attended, and that was kind of the start of the Tristan in my brain moment. And now you're everywhere. How are you so good at that? Why do you think you're so good at it?
I think I'm great at it because I start with one thing, and that's, well, I think, what is it that I want to listen to? What is it that I'm struggling with? And what is it that's the most important thing to me in my life? And I break it down into the smallest things possible. And then I outline that, and then I write about it. I talk about it. I video it. And I'm assuming, based on me having my ear to the ground, because I also still practice real estate and I run businesses, I know what our struggles are, and I'm pretty real about it. And I say, hey, look, these are our struggles. This is how you should deal with it. This is how we should be better leaders. We're examples, even though you don't want to be a leader, even though you don't want to be an example. You are to your children, people watching, siblings, family, whoever. And I take those moments and I write about them, or I talk about them. And I know that we're all human, Jason, and we all share the same problems, the same challenges. And I talk about them in a way that gives you hope to be able to say, got it, I understand how to do this better. And I think that's the key, because I go all in. It's not just sugarcoating it and just grabbing something else and throwing it in your face saying, hey, look what I found over here. It's more like, these are my thoughts. This is our struggle. And this is how we can get better. And I think that in itself, because I take so much time curating that content, connects with a lot of people, because they see one, it's valuable. Number two, it's real. It's real because it's exactly what I'm going through, exactly what I think. There's nothing I'm hiding behind it.
How much time do you spend just thinking? Like just in a thinking space?
Dude, I have thinking time down.
I love that.
Not. Today I have about an hour. Tomorrow I have 2 hours. The following day I've got an hour and a half. Thursday I've got an hour and a half. Friday I've got 2 hours.
Yep.
So yeah, every day.
That's great. I have this thought, and I'm working on a book as well. One of the thoughts that I have is I have this dry erase board in my shower, because I have my best thoughts when I'm sitting in there like, what? So I put a dry erase board in there to think. And that's true. My daily thinking time is in the shower. It's some of my best thoughts.
So true.
Yeah, it's fascinating, and it helps when you put it down there and you put the thought out there. It seems to come through for the day. So you say the one thing a lot. Obviously, we know about the One Thing book by Gary Keller. You have 20 things. And I think people struggle with, as I hear you say the one thing, I'm super curious, like, okay, you actually have 21 things. How can you be that one thing focused with 21 things, if that makes any sense?
Yeah, it does. And I think the key is prioritizing. So like if I look at my board to my right, I have priorities on a whiteboard. And the whiteboard has number one priority is family, and it outlines my wife, my 2 kids, each one individually. Right next, lab coat agents. It says what those priorities are in lab coats: elements, newsletter, I'll say live, online. And then it looks like our top 100, 200, 300, 400, 500. Next, a brilliant tribe, what those are, the priorities. Next, personal, exactly health, what I'm eating, what the books, and then how I'm working on my mind. And then it goes into other things. But the thing is, the key is this: you've got to prioritize what those most important things are. And I think, okay, let's think of the Pareto principle at this point, the 80-20 rule, even though I think now it's more like, in most cases, 90-10, 95-5, right? Or even higher.
Yeah.
We think, well, what's what do I need to focus on in each priority that I have that'll produce the most amount of value for me, for those around me, and will make me fulfill these goals that I have, right? And so I outline my priorities. What does lab coat agents look like? Let's identify those priorities. Which ones are going to bring me the better results? Boom, 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 boom. Next, family. Let's see, when it comes to my wife, what can I do that can bring me the best results in my relationship? I've been married for 23 years. What's the best thing? And I still do this. And I, like this morning, dude, you're thinking in the shower. I'm thinking the same thing. I'm thinking priorities. Okay. And I'm going through and I'm visualizing and I'm saying, okay, who do I want to be 6 months from now? That's January 2021. But more importantly, what kind of husband do I want to be to my wife? January 2021. I have 6 months to work on it. What are the things that I can work on today, this week, this next few months that can make me a better husband to reach that? And then I itemize those in my head. I'm like, okay, got it. You know, I haven't been waking up and kissing my wife before I get ready, right? Let's go back to something so simple. And then I break it down into the smallest things. That's how I prioritize.
That's it, broken down into small things.
Yep.
Are you able to move the needle in the categories? Let's put family, wife, lab coat agents aside for a second. Can you hear my dog barking, by the way? I have 3 kids and a dog.
Very little, dude. I've got 2 dogs here, so if they bark, don't worry about it.
No, that's all good. I wonder if he can just, my wife's going to come in a second. He'll calm down. But so are you able to move the needle forward in some of these, one of these 15 other areas outside of your top priorities? Can you really move the needle forward greatly with an hour to 4 hours a week on a project?
You can, but here's where it has to become part of your daily routine, right? So I'll give you an example. Over the last 2 years, I've been focusing a lot more on my health, right? There was a period of time where I was just like all in, because I'm growing too, right? I screw up a ton. One of those things that I screw up was my health, right? I didn't have a heart attack. I didn't have anything like that, but I finally realized that I was overweight, and I didn't like who I was, because I wouldn't last past another 20 years for my kids.
Okay.
So I came to that realization. I said, okay, what do I need to do? Let's break it down, right? So what I did is I broke it down into the smallest steps that I could and put those into my calendar. So now these small little things that I put there, because they pop up and I go and do them, right? It's part of a routine now. I just do it 30 minutes, 35 minutes, 45 minutes a day. I know what I need to eat, right? My calorie count. And so because it's part of my process, I've habituated it. All of a sudden, it doesn't need to be a priority anymore as long as it's in my calendar. My focus isn't on working out anymore, but you better believe I work out every day, 7 days a week, and I watch what I eat, right? But it's not a priority. It's just in my calendar. It's part of my life now. Right. Now, I'm focusing on lab coats. I purposely focus on lab coats, and I continually have to think, well, what's next? Like, what can I do better to connect with our audience? How can I improve the message we're delivering? Let's go through that. That's different, right? So I think a lot of what we miss as just being human is the fact that the moment that you start putting things into a daily process and outlining it way ahead so that you just fall into it, that becomes a lot easier of a process to accept in your life. Dude, like I know exactly what I'm going to do when I'm done here with you. Yep. I work out, and I know exactly what I'm going to work out.
Wait, you forgot to say you're going to accept my friend request on Facebook.
I'll accept your friend request on Facebook.
As soon as we're done. Put that in that calendar right now.
That was next, dude.
Yeah. I watched an interview with the former Redskins quarterback Kirk Cousins one time, and he literally scheduled his day out by the minute. And you just think of people that do things at high levels. And the more I hear it, the more I talk to people that at least I view as successful, that schedule and the priorities, it's just a part of it. And you can either accept it or not. And if you don't, you're probably holding yourself back, I would guess.
Yeah, I think for some people it becomes, so there's different personalities, right? I have a few agents on the team that are very free, and they feel like if they schedule things, it takes away from that freedom, right? Of just being spontaneous, right?
Yeah.
So there's a partial truth to it because they believe it, so it becomes real, right? But what I tell them is this, and that's, you'll have more freedom,
Right.
right? You know where I'm getting to.
Yep. 100%.
If you have control of your life, and if it's really a big challenge, do this then. Block out 4 hours and be spontaneous there. Just make
Right.
sure that your priorities are done.
Yeah.
You can still be spontaneous.
Even more so.
Yeah. It's like, oh, I got 4 hours to do whatever the hell I want. Let's see what I want. And then you're
Yep.
like, well, I don't know what to do, because you're getting so used to knowing what to do next.
Yeah. Does your brain let you rest, or are you always on to forget the one thing, are you always on to the next thing?
I'm always on to the next thing. So that's a very, very great question. I'm always on, right? And it's a challenge too. It's been a challenge. It was a big challenge initially when we got married, my wife and I, because my brain was always on, right? It wouldn't rest. Some days I couldn't even go to sleep, and I'd wake up in the middle of the night. It's like, oh my gosh. Over the years, I've learned to be able to deal with that a lot better, right? To not let it turn into anxiety, and to have more control over those thoughts. And I think it came down to knowing that my day is structured, knowing that I have time to think, that I have time to create content, right?
Yep.
And having the processes in place so I know that I won't fail if I come up with a great idea.
Were you born that way, where your brain was always rocking?
I don't know, dude. I think it probably comes from my mom. My mom's brain's always going like this, right? So she's always opening up a business here, another idea over here, another. I had to learn to stop that, take advantage of that amazing thing that my mom gave me, but then stop it and turn it around and say, okay, let's take more control over it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And outline how this looks and focus on those priorities. So, dude, right before your call, I was talking to the CEO of Ylobo and the CFO or CMO, both of them. And we were masterminding. We were going over something very similar to what you're talking about. So it's very cool.
What's your number one priority now is lab coat agents. How much time are you spending on that? How much time are you spending working with your real estate team?
Mm-hmm.
Break this down a little bit for me.
Yeah. So I have days that are prioritized for certain things, right? So I've got prioritized, like Monday is more of the Tristan companies type thing. Tuesdays is more along the lines of content creation, right? Focus a little bit on team. Then you've got Wednesdays and Thursdays, lab coat agents. Fridays, we go back to like a brilliant tribe of other companies, brands that I own. And then Sundays are like a hit or miss depending on what I need to be working on. But the key is to hire amazing talent. That's the key.
Sure.
And that allows you to grow more, because now you can rely on those people handling whatever needs to be handled without you having to do the hand holding or the explanation of how it needs to be done.
One of my observations of you, and it has to be strange to have strangers like me who kind of study you from a distance, and I look into your world and I'm asking these questions, like, it's got to be a weird feeling. It's, somebody's paying that close attention. You're used to it now. But one of my observations is that you are really good at tying all of your ventures together somehow, some way, aren't you? I think that's probably one of your strongest suits, if I had to take a guess.
Yeah, you're right, man. But I did that on purpose because I know what my strengths are and I know what my weaknesses are, right? They just happen to be, believe it or not, they happen to be the same thing, right? I can be the nicest guy in the world. That's a strength, but I can be the nicest guy in the world, and that's my weakness, right? So it's a double-edged sword all the time. You talk to a lot of leaders, they'll tell you the exact same thing. Their strength is their weakness. And so we look at this and I say, well, I know that my strength is exactly what I do: delivering value, delivering it the same way, interviewing, coming up with great ideas, implementing them. Why not do the same thing through all those companies and let the talent that I've hired handle the rest, right? So like a weakness that I have is being able to, when I create something, being able to have it be sustained right after I leave from it, right? So that it continues to grow. So I
Mm-hmm.
needed to hire talent in order to do that. And once I figured that out, then I was like, oh, awesome. I built the bones, right? I continue to give to it what I need to. And I have somebody now building the back end so that it continues to have a strong base.
That person, that find is the ticket. That's the hard way. I see you got a ticket in the background there, a life ticket. But that ticket for that business is that person. Talk to me how you go through the process, and I don't know if we can go all the way down the path, but in general, I know you know the value of people. I imagine for you, it's pouring into them as much as they're pouring into you.
I think it's important that they first, when you hire and look for character, because you can't really replace that, right? You can't teach somebody that if they haven't learned it already. It's not going to be the greatest time for them to learn it with you on the job, right?
Yeah.
So look for character, look for somebody who has ethics, who has a great moral compass, who's, for me, because I lead with kindness, who's kind, who when they look at an opportunity, when they look at a possible confrontation, when they look at any situation, they do their best to look at both sides. And they do their best, as impossible as this seems, they do their best to really look at it and say, okay, well, what does this other person have to say? And how does this relate to the way I'm thinking and the way I'm seeing things? What can I learn from this? So I look at it more when I'm looking to hire, I look for growth mindset versus fixed mindset, right?
Yep. Growth mindset versus fixed mindset, character, integrity at the top of the filter. I
You
get
got
that.
it.
I love that. I so have taken 18 years to figure that out myself.
Dude, we all have. Don't worry. After screwing up every time, right? Like, damn it.
But you know what's fun about that is the people that I work with now, man, it's such a joy. I'm having so much fun in the business 18 years in, more fun than ever because the people I'm surrounded with are the people I want to be surrounded with. So
Yeah,
that's
so
so
true.
fun.
So true.
This whole conversation is about mindset, but I need to switch gears for a second. Technology, systems, tools, all big parts of your world. On the technology front, from the agent perspective, what should we be looking out for? What's coming down the chute? Like, just what's on your mind in the technology space right now? Systems
Yes.
or
So
tools?
a couple of things that you need to be looking out for. If you haven't already, this one's easy. It's dynamic ads for real estate. Facebook just changed the name to real estate ads last month. And we're looking at really retargeting our whole database, past clients, Sphere, wherever you got the leads from, open houses, online leads, just retargeting them on social media. And I don't think people understand how powerful social media is. There was a recent study that came out from Facebook 4 weeks ago, end of June. I guess that's 5 weeks ago. End of June, it shows that 70% of the American population is on Facebook every month, which is insane, dude.
That's nuts.
Insane. And
Yep.
the average is an hour and 15 minutes that they spend on either Facebook or Instagram or combined. And in order for us to be where they are, the internet is now social media, whether you like to believe it or not. You look at go in Google, the top most visited websites in the world. Number one is Google, which is just leading you to other websites, right? Number two is YouTube. Number three, sometimes it goes to number four, is Facebook. Just in the top three there, right? YouTube and Facebook, social media. And Instagram's not too far behind.
Yep.
And so you look at that and you say, well, what's the power of this? How can I use it? And that's where you look at real estate ads, which is just retargeting to all these people to refind you. So this way you bring them back into your sphere. You let them know about your brand. This is why brands spend millions of dollars on marketing on social. You just have to know how to do that. And that, Jason, it comes down to nurturing through social media. That's why we bring them back to us. That's number one. The other thing you need to look for is, while everyone's paying attention to Facebook on the leads, which they should, Facebook lead ads are great, not very many people are bringing up Google. And what we're noticing is that there are some companies out there that are redoing the way they approach pay-per-click. So we're used to having, and I'll go through this on the technical side really quick. We're used to going in on Google, creating AdWords and creating keywords for each ad that probably go about 500 keywords per ad set, right? That's the average. And then what happens is if one of those keywords didn't match, it's still there and it's still going. Hopefully it matches in the end of the month. Hopefully it brings back a lead. If not, it goes through to your CPL and it lowers or it increases your CPL cost per lead. It increases, right? So you're looking at probably $20. And so what's changing is this. What's changing is that there are a couple of companies out there that are now, they've created a way to work with Google that instead of having 500 keywords, they have 100,000 keywords. And those 100,000 keywords 3 times a day are being searched through, and the ones that aren't working are being removed and replaced by ones that they think are. So now my cost per lead goes dramatically down. And the way the funnel looks, just to explain to you the funnel for online leads, because that's my expertise, Jason.
Yeah.
Online leads, we look top of the funnel. You have Facebook. Why? Because if you see me on your feed, Jason, you don't know who I am, but you saw a house and you're like, oh, this is cool. Click. You look at it. You're at the very top of the funnel. I don't even know if you're interested in properties.
Right.
I found you because I was targeting you. Middle of the funnel is Google, because now you're actively searching. You're going to go to Google and be like, well, I'm looking to move in Malibu, close to Pepperdine University, next to the beach. Click.
Facebook, Google, got you. Okay.
And then, see, the thing is, Facebook and Google leads, they're approximately the same in price, but Google has a lower, it's lower down in that funnel. Next, at the very bottom, you have Realtor.com and Zillow, right? Portal leads. Now, those can get up to $200 or more, $200 per lead. And chances are they usually have already found a real estate agent that has already called them. When I get a Realtor.com or Zillow lead, I know they've talked to like 3 or 4 or 5 different agents. I just know.
Yeah.
Right. But they're also ready now for the most part, and they're ready to go see property. Well, the sweet spot is right in the middle, because my cost per lead for a Google lead is about $9 to $10, right in between. They're closer to purchasing, and some of these are ready to purchase because they're coming in knowing exactly what they want through Google. So that's something I would be paying attention to, especially the way PPC is changing or AdWords and changing on the back end. It's a dramatic change. So I would definitely keep my eye on that.
Well, I'm definitely glad I'm recording this because you just went into the weeds with me, and I'm going to replay this 3 or 4 times to make sure I got all of that. I got the outline and the framework. You are a fascinating guest, and your brain is next level, my friend. And I'm grateful for you coming on the show, People, Passion, Power. And I hope to stay in touch. Don't forget to accept my Facebook friend request.
I got you. It's on my notes.
I'm tagging you. And thanks for coming on People, Passion, Power. Tristan from Lab Coat Agents. You're the man.
Thanks, buddy.
Man, it's just